Math 76, Lesson 27, using manipulatives to reduce fractions, adding and subtracting mixed numbers. I'm not going to do another video on manipulatives. We'll be showing you how to do that in class. I've got some bigger ones that I can show on my board, and then using them to reduce fractions is actually something I kind of accidentally demonstrated in the example for Lesson 23. But if you're having issues with those, just wait until the next class date. That's a very quick thing to demonstrate, and hopefully it's not something that you've forgotten from the lecture. What I'm going to focus on is adding and subtracting mixed numbers, because that is something that usually gives people more trouble than use of fraction manipulatives. So I'm going to take a couple of mixed numbers here, and we'll add them. Actually, they're related to story problems. So let's take a story problem here. They tell us that Tom lives 2 3/4 miles from school. Tom rode his bike from home to school and back to home. How far did he ride? So if the distance is 2 3/4 and he rides that distance twice, once going to school and once going back home, what I have to do is add 2 3/4 to 2 3/4, making it a sum and some more pattern in the story problem, meaning I'm going to have to add. So I have to take the mixed number 2 3/4 and then add it to the mixed number 2 3/4. So what I'm going to do here is first I'm going to focus on the fractions, okay? So I'm going to look at the fractions of 3/4 plus 3/4, and I see they have a common denominator. So the only number I'm going to change here is going to be the numerator of 3. So 3 plus 3 gives me 6. So I now have a fraction of 6/4. However, you'll notice that the numerator 6 is larger than the denominator 4. So I need to reduce this and convert this into a mixed number before I add it to the 2, and the 1. Or I can take that 1 that's going to be in here and I can regroup it and put it in the ones column. So when I look at 6/4 and I've asked, let's see here, we'll do it this way. I'll go ahead and take 1 whole out of it, 1 whole being 4/4, right? So if I take 1 whole out of 6/4, I'm left over with 2/4. Now that 1 whole I'm going to take and I'm going to regroup up here to become the number 1. So then I've got whatever these numbers add up to and 2/4. And then I can also remember that 2/4 will reduce into 1/2. So this fraction is going to become 1/2. And then I'll add up the whole numbers. 1 and 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So now I've got 5 and 1/2, and that will be my final answer. Some of you may be thinking, okay, that's great, I've got it. Some of you are thinking, Mr. Cleveland, you did that way too fast. I don't even know what happened here. So I'll go back and I'll slow it down. What happened here is we saw that 6/4 was larger than 1. If we were to draw that in circles or manipulatives, what we'd have here is we'd have one circle of fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'd have another circle. I'll go ahead and shade these, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'd have another circle with 2/4 shaded, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/4, or 6/4 pieces, right? We can see that this is equal to 1 and 1/2, right? So that's why I took that 1 out. So this is one method, is you can subtract increments of 1 from your improper fraction and regroup them as whole numbers. So I took this 1, and that's what got moved up here. Then left over I had 2/4. That 2/4 became this 1/2 here, and I added them all up together to become 5 and 1/2. Now this method of subtracting 1 might be a little confusing for you, so there's another method of regrouping where we just kind of keep adding. So I'll go ahead and show you that one next, and we'll do that one in green. So we'll take the same problem, slide over here, 2 3/4 plus 2 3/4. We'll add that together. We already know the 3 and 3 is going to add up to 6/4. Okay, and then from here, what we can do instead of subtracting the 1 is we can draw the diagram or understand that 6/4 is going to equal 1 2/4, right? So this is equal to 1 2/4, right? And then from there, I can say that that is also equal to 1 1/2 through reducing. And then I can take this 1 1/2 and then I can add it in to the bottom of these numbers. So the 3/4 have already been added. So now what I have is I have 2 plus 2 plus 1 1/2. All right, so that addition becomes very easy. I can already see my fraction is just going to be 1/2, and then 2 and 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So 5.5. All right. So there's multiple ways to regroup this. For some people, just changing it into a mixed number makes more sense. For some people, moving the 1 up here makes a little more sense. So you got 2 different ways to attack the problem. If neither of those work for you, send me a message and let me know. I'll go ahead and show you some other ways. I'll go ahead and do one more example. I'll do a little more complex problem, and maybe that'll help us out. Let's see here. Ooh, what happens if our fractions balance out? So let's say we've got 1 and 1/8, and we're adding that to 1 and 7/8. Okay, so here we add the numerators. 1 plus 7 gives me 8/8, and I see that this fraction is going to be equal to the number 1, so that's equal to 1. So immediately, if my fractions balance out and I've got a whole number, I can just take this whole number and I can either add it to the top or the bottom, and all my fractions go away. So 1, 1, and 1 gives me a final answer of 3. All right, so that's another instance you may run into. What if your fractions add up to a perfect whole number? That happens. Let's see here. What other, percentages. They also have us do these with percents. So let's say we've got 16 and 2/3% plus 88 and, or no, I'm sorry, not 88. Is that 3? No, 86. Sorry, I cannot read today. Here, we'll just rewrite this in a cleaner spot since I cannot erase. I'll switch colors too. Maybe that'll help me out. 16 and 2/3 plus 86 and 2/3, and these are in percents. So 2/3 plus 2/3% gives me 4/3 of a percent. That 4/3 can either subtract 3/3 to give us 1 on top, or be regrouped into 1 and 1/3. I'll go ahead and do the regrouping method. We'll make this, that equals 1 and 1/3. I'll take the 1, I'm going to put it up top, and then my answer is going to have 1/3 in it. 6 and 6 is 12, plus 1 is 3. And then, 3, 13. Carry the 1 over, and then 1 and 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10. So my answer here is 103 and 1/3%. All right, so same rules apply. We just have to remember to put our percent at the end. If you guys have any questions, let me know on the school website, and I will see you in class.